You know, we've all been there, sitting through a presentation that just doesn't land, or maybe even worse, giving one. The real challenge isn't just getting up and talking in front of people, right? It's about making a real impact, making your message actually stick long after you're done. So how do we do that? Well, it turns out there's a pretty simple framework that can take any presentation from forgettable to unforgettable. Let's dive in.
First things first, a little reality check. Research shows that within just 1 hour, your audience will forget about half of everything you just told them. 50%. All that hard work, just gone.
And yeah, it gets even tougher. On average, you've got about 10 minutes. That's it. That's the typical attention span you're working with. After that 10-minute mark, you are fighting a serious uphill battle just to keep them engaged.
So that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? When you're up against a forgetful audience and a ticking clock on their attention, how in the world do you break through all that noise and deliver something that actually resonates, something they'll remember?
Well, the solution is a really powerful roadmap. We just saw that forgetting curve in action, and now we're going to walk through the 4 key stages to beat it. We're talking planning, preparing, practicing, and presenting. And it's all about one thing: making your message stick.
So let's put a name to it. We call this the 4 Ps framework. It's super straightforward. First, you plan your foundation. Then, you prepare your structure. After that, you practice your delivery. And finally, you present with impact. This is our guide, our secret weapon to turning any talk into a genuinely engaging conversation.
All right, let's kick things off with the most important stage of all, planning. And look, this isn't just about figuring out what you're going to say. This is about building the entire foundation of trust and credibility before you even say a single word.
Okay, this right here is one of the most mind-blowing findings in communication research. It's called the 7-38-55 rule. And what it tells us is that what your audience believes comes way less from your actual words, that's only 7%, and way more from your tone of voice and your body language. Just think about that for a second. How you say it is so much more powerful than what you say.
And that leads us to a really critical rule for building trust. Your 3 Vs, that's your verbal, your vocal, and your visual, they all have to be in perfect sync. If your words are saying, "I'm confident," but your voice is kind of shaky, guess which one the audience is going to believe? They'll believe your voice every single time. Any disconnect there just shatters your credibility. It all has to tell the exact same story.
Next up in the planning phase, you've got to be absolutely crystal clear about your objective. What are you there to do? Are you just there to educate, to deliver some facts and information? Or are you there to drive action, to get someone to make a decision, to change a behavior, to get a real commitment? Knowing the answer to that question will define your entire strategy.
And of course, none of this matters if you're not speaking their language. You have to get inside your audience's head. Don't just think about what you want to say. You need to think about what they need to hear. What's their biggest challenge? What kind of evidence is going to convince them specifically? You see, this is all about empathy, not just dumping information.
Okay, so with a solid plan locked in, we can move on to our second P, preparing. The foundation's been laid, and now it's time to build the actual structure that's going to carry your message. This is all about creating a flow that's logical and compelling. You know, the best way to structure any presentation is with the classic 3 Ts. It's so simple and it just works. First, you tell them what you're going to tell them, then you tell them, and finally, you tell them what you told them. It is a proven formula that makes everything clear and helps people remember what you said.
Now, within that 3T structure, there's a golden rule you have to remember. People remember the beginning and the end most vividly. Your opener and your close are what will define the entire presentation for your audience. You've got to make them count.
So how do you start strong? Well, don't waste those first 30 seconds with, hi, my name is... No. Instead, hit them with a shocking stat, kind of like we did at the beginning. Or ask a question that really makes them think. Maybe tell a quick little story that paints a picture in their mind. Your job is to earn their attention from the very first word you say.
All right, our plan is solid, our structure's in place, and that brings us to the final 2 Ps, practice and present. And really, you can't have one without the other. Practice is the bridge that takes you from all that prep work to a great performance. This is where it all comes to life.
As you're practicing, here's your final exam. Your presentation absolutely, positively must answer these 3 questions for your audience. Why should they trust you personally? Why is your company the right choice for them? And why on earth should they act right now?
If you can't nail these 3, your message just isn't going to land.
Now, let's talk about the traps that so many people fall into. Instead of just dumping a ton of data, focus on the key takeaways. Instead of overloading them with visuals, make it about the people. And maybe most importantly, never ever end a presentation without a clear call to action, a specific ask that tells them exactly what you want them to do next.
And really, that brings us to the core philosophy here. The best presentations aren't about having the flashiest slides or the coolest animations. They're about creating a real human connection. Your slides are just there to support you. They are not the main event. Your real job is to connect with the people in that room.
So we've walked through the 4 Ps. Now let's bring it all home and talk about the ultimate goal that ties it all together. How do you make your core message actually stick long after you've left the stage?
Here it is. The ultimate goal is to completely shift your mindset from presenting at an audience to having a conversation with them. It's not a monologue, it's a dialogue. You've got to engage them, ask them questions, make it interactive. That's the secret to keeping them with you from start to finish.
So, here's your final action plan. It's simple. Use the 4 Ps framework for every single presentation. Always double-check that your 3 Vs are aligned to build that trust. Structure your story using those simple 3 Ts. And above all, obsess over your opening and your close. Make them absolutely unforgettable. And I'm going to leave you with this one last thought. After all the data, all the stories, all the slides are gone, if your audience is only going to walk away remembering one single thing from your entire presentation, what do you want that one thing to be? Figure that out first, and then build everything else around it.